Hi, this is Billie Beene here with a U.S. News Flash Update. Today's date, August 14, 2024, time about 7 a.m. in Texas. Some of my sources are God in the Bible, Patriot Subscriber, Monkey WERX, JWTV, Cliff High, Israeli News Live, Forbes Breaking News, Doug Hagman, Mike Adams. Some of the things we'll cover today. X's and M's for today. Fall, chaos, and ETs. And WALTZ equals woke. And Texas arrest an election official, and what's up with the NOTAM over DC. So I'd like to begin by saying thank you to Deanna C. for extra support for my channel. I have a Patriot subscriber, a vet, who says at the vet's hospital where he goes, they have a free taxi. And you don't have to pay for it. But it's free. It'll come and pick you up and bring you to the hospital. That's in response to another vet in Florida who said the VA wants him to pay to drive hours to go to an appointment, which he is physically not able to do and financially not able to do either. So we see different modes of calibers of treatment by vets in different parts of the U.S. So Suspicious Observer is bringing this up today. Just this morning we had 2 M flares and an X flare that will possibly launch another CME toward the Earth. We have yesterday and late last night a G4 geomagnetic storm, which is subsiding. I find it odd today when I started putting together this flash, multiple sources over the last day or two for the alien ET card. I believe it's coming in the fall for sure. And even on Suspicious Observers, a white paper, which is a science-based paper that a scientist would put forth for publication in a scientific journal, talking about the impact from space on human health, which we know, but including possible alien intervention. This is really getting weird. And right after that, I noticed Israeli News Live, Stephen Bannon, former CIA, now as a ministry, is interviewing a retired police officer, a lady, Fringe, who's giving her, and a Christian, who's giving her story of alien abductions and the sinister agenda of the ETs. Now, several years ago, and it's still posted on my Rumble channel, I did a series, Alien Disclosure by Redneck, right here. But we see this coming forth, this alien ET agenda and stories in mainstream media via even the white paper, the science-based paper, and other sources. Now, I'd like to begin, so we've been seeing in California several earthquakes in the Los Angeles area, about a 4.7 or so. That was 7.5 miles deep, or 12.1 kilometers. That happened on August 12th. And we have some plate predictions for movement for the Pacific Plate going around the Ring of Fire to Japan. And the USGS is linking possible Pacific Plate movement to the 7.1 earthquake that occurred recently in Japan on August 8. So that's going on. And then last week, California also had a 5.2 in the Los Angeles area. And I noticed that Dutch Sense is predicting a very soon in the next 7 to 10 days, as has been predicted by other sources, for a 5 to 6 earthquake in California. So I pray be a good time to pray against that. And we have Ernesto in the Atlantic Ocean, now at 70 miles per hour, barometric pressure 996, moving forward at 16 miles per hour, which is predicted to skirt the East Coast, the far East Coast, by Saturday at 8 p.m. may experience some winds. But this storm is going to shift away from the U.S. and may be a Category 1 to 2. Mike Adams, a Natural News health ranger, brings this out about Tim Waltz. Apparently there's nothing good you can say about this guy, who supports PEDO activities and has sponsored a bill. He signed a bill in Minnesota, where he's the governor, in May of 2023, Take Pride bill, to normalize and legalize pedo. At what age pedo? Would this be underage teens? Would it be middle schoolers? Or does it apply down to the age of toddlers? So we can characterize and look at the evidence that supports Minnesota Governor Tim Waltz, currently running on the Dem ticket as vice president, is an individual who supports pedo activities. And from Doug Hagman, he and Randy Taylor recently interviewed a UK activist, Tim Ferguson, and we've been hearing recently about activities in England where the illegals are rising up against the British citizens with machetes and knives and so on. And we had that horrific stabbing of children. I believe that was in Ireland a few weeks ago. But the British government, our UK government, headed up by Starmer, is directing the police to arrest British citizens who are trying to defend themselves against illegals, attacking them with machetes, and so on. And Tim Ferguson brings this out about a flood of illegals into UK, England, Scotland, Ireland, Wales, as we in the US have seen. And in the UK, evidence supports that it is coordinated by the UN, as it is in the US, and it's believed widely by truthers that the deep state agenda is to bring in illegals to many countries, coordinate their activities and give them money but through the UN, and then coordinate the illegals' attacks upon citizens. And we're seeing in the UK now, citizens are being attacked, and it is the citizens who are being arrested while the illegals have no charges and they're let go free. Well, this is meeting with a strong citizen pushback in the UK, and it's possible that we might see an uprising in the UK, as supported by Cliff High's WebBot data, that in the UK we could see an armed revolution by the fall. it appears that the deep state is pushing the citizens of the UK to this action. But the UK doesn't have even enough military to quell an armed uprising by its citizens, and it appears that we could see this also in the US, because other analysts are putting this forth, that the deep state is juicing up war in the Ukraine and Middle East to send all the military out of the UK, out of the US, and other NATO nations, and they have in place their illegal militants to then turn them loose on the citizens. The deep state is losing political power, so it appears its plan is to simply take out the citizens. Cliff High's WebBot data and his recent podcast, Discontinuity. In the fall, we can see disruption, unexpected changes in the US and the UK and other nations around the earth, and an uprising of the illegals against citizens, and the people, the citizens, will engage in a kinetic uprising against the illegals. And it's believed, and the prediction is, in the US, September, October, especially October 2 to 8, social chaos. And in December, that the deep state will flee. So we could correlate that to President Trump being reelected in November, and the deep state being able to read the writing on the wall. And this WebBot data does predict an armed revolution in the UK to come about in the fall and winter this year. WERX is talking about Washington, D.C. Now, something is going on in D.C. We know that it isn't the location of government. The green screen CGI televised events we're seeing putting forth, this is the president or this is the Congress, is actually being filmed at a studio in Atlanta, Georgia. And but what's going on, and WERX documents this. Suddenly the NOTAM, which is stationary over DC, has been widely expanded, and the reason is unknown. And supporting that the military is being drawn out of our nation. In the last 5 days, we've had 292 C-17 large transport planes flying out of the U.S. to Europe and the Middle East. And it's believed now, this week, that JB is heading to the bunker to pursue continuity of government at Camp David. And we know JB is an actor. JWTV brings this out. The WHO just added the Black Plague and bird flu to their list of possible pandemics. And that at the White House in the last few days, something was going on. Some suspicious item at the White House in D.C. And I found it odd that the vehicles, the black SUVs we associate with the government groups of, we could characterize as thugs in some cases, coming against American citizens. But the black SUVs, while the search was going on for this suspicious item at the White House had their hoods popped. Why would you do that? And we have some positive news. Forbes breaking news brings this out, that in Texas, an arrest for election fraud or mishandling is being put forth. Texas DA Kim Ogg. And I learned something new in the state of Texas. If you have just 2 plus citizens who make complaints about election problems, any election, then by law in Texas, Texas must investigate. And this happened with regard to the 2022 election hot mess in Harris County. That's where Houston's located. So that was the midterm election 2022. And I was hearing about all these problems. And it came down to that many of the locations did not have ballots so citizens could vote. And it turns out this was done on purpose and was done in-house by an employee of the Harris County Election Commission, Daryl Blackburn. Purposely did not supply enough ballots to all of the voting locations in Harris County to tap down the vote. He has been arrested. So this concludes my flash. We do, I believe, need to be in prayer and to pray for peace in the U.S. and around the world, and for our U.S. military, and in the U.S. to pray for our law enforcement, who, like the law enforcement in UK, are being forced by evil and corrupt governments to not put forth protection for citizens, but instead to allow illegals to ramp up. And in the WebBot by Cliff High, strong support this fall for the ET alien card. I love you, and I'll see you soon.